Justice is defying a judge's orders, refusing to turn over even basic information about what's being done by the Trump administration to return Abrego Garcia, seen here, from a notorious prison in El Salvador, to which he was deported by mistake a month ago. A previous court order in 2019 protected him from being sent to El Salvador, from which he'd fled years earlier.
This case is about the government unlawfully and admitting to unlawfully removing a gentleman from this country.
Federal Judge Paula Zinnes blistered Trump administration lawyers for not following her prior orders, saying every day Mr. Abrego Garcia is detained at the Salvadoran prison is another date of irreparable harm, and that she has no tolerance for gamesmanship or grandstanding.
The Constitution is being tested.
Jeffrey Rosen is president and CEO of the National Constitution Center.
We're dealing with the most fundamental questions of whether or not the president will respect an independent judiciary and the rule of law.
The administration continues to allege Abrego Garcia is an MS-13 gang member and that his fate is in the hands of El Salvador, whose president Monday said he wouldn't help ensure a return.
The question is preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist into the United States?
Trump administration officials argue if Abrego Garcia is returned to a U.S. port of entry, he'd be immediately deported elsewhere.
If somehow he comes back and that happens, he's going to be detained and removed again.
Yesterday, Republican Senator Chuck Grassley was confronted about the case at his town hall in Iowa.
Are you going to bring a guy back from El Salvador? Yeah. Why not?
Well, because that's not a power of Congress.
Maryland Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen is en route to El Salvador, he says, to try to meet with Kilmar Abrego Garcia and also to meet with Salvadoran leaders to try to secure this man's release. Gail?
All right, Scott, thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everybody. President Trump campaigned on the promise to secure our homeland and deport violent alien criminals from our communities. That is why the American people overwhelmingly reelected him back to this office, and it's why the American people defeated the Democrat Party in devastating fashion. Today, we have officially learned Democrat officials still refuse to accept the will of the American people. Maryland Democrat Senator Chris Van Hollen rushed to Dulles Airport this morning to fly to El Salvador, potentially using taxpayer dollars to demand the release of deported illegal...
Oh, you mean a senator actually cared about his constituents? You know, since this person, his wife, his 5-year-old child with special needs is a constituent of Chris Van Hollen? You mean that's what the senator did? What a horrible thing this senator did to chase after an innocent man who was unjustly deported, kidnapped, so unjustly that the American government admitted to the mistake. Just to make sure I'm getting this straight, no one has heard from Abrego Garcia since he was disappeared, and not even a U.S. senator can get in touch with him, and 100% could be dead, but no one would know. Yeah. Scott McFarland, CBS News' justice correspondent. I may be the first in the United States senator to visit El Salvador on this issue, but I won't be the last. This is an unsustainable moment. Van Hollen says he was not able to see Kilmar Abrego Garcia, and he says El Salvador authorities could not guarantee a visit with Abrego Garcia next week. And he says he was not permitted to speak with Abrego Garcia by phone. Van Hollen says El Salvador leaders told him they'd facilitate a phone call with Abrego Garcia if the U.S. Embassy had asked. Van Hollen says El Salvador official was not sure they'd be able to arrange a call between Abrego Garcia and family. Chris Van Hollen then pauses and emphasizes the Trump administration is lying about Abrego Garcia. I think this is still speculation.
What's that?
Can you repeat that? We just started the live stream.
Can
we? Dude, I can't watch this. Is such fucking I keep seeing KKK Caroline saying that he has been confirmed as a member of MS-13. Oh, KKK Caroline. You're talking about fucking Caroline Leavitt. I was like, what? I thought you meant Caroline Kwan. I was like, well, she would never. What the fuck? Anyway, we don't know. We have no way of knowing.
Illegal alien MS-13 terrorist.
He is not that. Fuck me, he is
The
not
Democrats
that.
and the media in this room have continually and wrongly labeled Kilmar Abrego Garcia as a Maryland father. There is no Maryland father. Let me reiterate. Kilmar Abrego Garcia is an illegal alien.
Yeah, this is the meta, by the way. Trisha McLaughlin, when Garcia was arrested, he was found with rolls of cash and drugs. He was arrested with 2 members of MS-13. 2 judges found that he was a member of MS-13. The finding was has not been disturbed. When arrested, he was wearing what is effectively MS-13's uniform. How fucking far removed are you as the Assistant Secretary of Department of Homeland Security? How fucking far removed are you from just like average working Joes that you look at a fucking high visibility vest and go, that's a sign of an MS-13 gang member. He's wearing high vis. He was arrested for loitering, as Aaron Reichlin Melnick correctly points out. If he had had cash and drugs on him, the PG County police would have charged him with something rather than releasing him. Plus, they didn't even fill out an incident report. So where are you getting this information from? They're just making it up. But that's it. That's all it takes. You can just fucking lie like this when it's a brown person. Straight up. Straight up. They already did this with black people. They did this with the fucking Haitians that are eating cats and dogs. They could get as aggressive and as insane as they want to with their fucking blood libel when they're talking about black people and brown people. And this is happening in front of our fucking eyes. They're testing how much false information the public will abide by, how much false information the public will eat up. That is what's going on here. The case of Kilmar Abrego Garcia is not unique. 90% of all of the people that have been deported to CCOT have no fucking crimes whatsoever. I think it's like a total of 12 people that have some serious crimes that have been deported. Okay? The rest are minor offenses or no criminal record whatsoever. And these people can just say, without any care or consideration for the truth, that they are rapists, like child rapists, bloodthirsty murderers. And a lot of people believe them. It's fucking insane.
MS-13 gang member and foreign terrorist who was deported back to his home country. And when Kilmar Abrego Garcia was originally arrested, he was wearing a sweatshirt with rolls of money covering.
Yeah, the Fourth Circuit judge literally said the Trump admin had ample opportunity to show he was a member of MS-13, but did not and didn't even bother to try.
The ears, mouth, and eyes of presidents on various currency denominations. This is a known MS-13 gang symbol of hear no evil, speak no evil, see no evil. Abrego Garcia was also arrested with 2 other well-known members of the vicious MS.
Are they just like making new shit up now? Is that what's going on? Because none of this was in the fucking police report at all. It's from the White House, so I don't know. Wait, what? I want to look into the definition of uniform before they're referring to before judging. Google search puts clothing in the second definition, remaining the same in all cases and at all times. It's from the White House, so I don't know. I guess this is the reason why a lot of people are fucking stupid enough to just be like, nah, the government could never make shit up. Why did we go to war with Iraq, by the way? I don't know. They would never famously make shit up. The administration that won... Hello? Where are you going? That's crazy. She's just quietly walking away. Okay. Hello. That's something a third grader will make up to try to get you in trouble with the principal. This case is literally turning Ivy League educated boomers into pure Nazi zero critical thinking left in this country, man. Oh, 100%. Like, this person is a fucking union member, too. Like, it's not... Oh, my God. At first, they claimed him wearing a Chicago Bulls hat was reasoning enough that he was MS-13. Now they're saying the fucking high-vis shirt that he was wearing was the MS-13 uniform. What's next, dude? What else is MS-13? Drinking water? Did he drink water in the process? Before he was getting apprehended, we ascertained that the criminal assailant was consuming a liquid substance from a plastic vestibule. I don't even know if that's the right word. No, it's not the right word. Vestibule means passage, hall, room, or between the outer door and interior of a building. What the fuck was I thinking? Why did I say vestibule? What would it be? A vessel. I was thinking vessel. I'm so stupid. Why does anybody listen to me? A plastic vessel. Yeah. The assailant was engaging in kinetic action in the process of moving one leg in front of the next. Yeah, here it is. This is the big fucking smoking gun that this racist piece of shit had to be like, this guy's MS-13.
A hoodie. Garcia's a Bulls fan, but he's from El Salvador, and he lives in Maryland, not Chicago.
Wow. I can't believe a guy would have Chicago Bulls merchandise, literally the most marketable franchise universally, for anyone over the age of 25. What the fuck? I'm a LeBron dick rider till the day I die, and even I recognize that Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant are two of the most marketable universal figures of NBA history. There are motherfuckers in the Taliban wearing Kobe Bryant jerseys, bro. What the fuck are we talking about? And the same goes for MJ. What do you mean? The Chicago Bulls is literally a universally recognized institution due to the historic period where Michael Jordan dominated. Yeah. One of the most iconic sports moments of all time. I can't believe he would wear a fucking hat dedicated to that team. Oh my God. It's like Luka Doncic is Hamas. Yeah. How dare this guy wear a fucking Chicago Bulls hat? He must be a terrorist. Jesus Christ.
The Bulls lost 60 games in 2019, so why the hat? Can Garcia name anyone on the team?
What are you saying? Who gives a fuck, dude? What? Awfully suspicious that this brown man is wearing a Bulls hat. That's it. That's literally what this argument is. It's like a joke if it wasn't so fucking heinous. If the reality wasn't so goddamn heinous, you couldn't treat this as anything but a joke. Awfully suspicious wearing a Chicago Bulls hat. You're not even from Chicago. Dog, it's not like he's wearing a fucking Pelicans hat. What are you talking about? It's the goddamn Chicago Bulls. It's like wearing a fucking Yankees hat. I have a Yankees hat. I've never watched baseball. I think baseball's fucking boring. What the fuck do you mean?
Anyone on any Bulls team besides Jordan? Everyone from El Salvador knows what it means when you wear a Bulls hat. It means you're MS-13.
No, that's not what are you saying? Ah! I can't do this. Kaya, please. Fuck. They're not even fucking trying. They're not even trying. That's the craziest part. They are not trying. They know that their fan base is dumb enough. They know that their fan base is racist enough. Do you understand? You don't do this if you're trying to convince people. You do this if you know they've been convinced already. Okay? They're not even fucking trying to make shit up. This is quite literally context puke shit. Ethan Klein being like, well, these are bad guys and America are the good guys. Why aren't you supporting the good guys? No arguments whatsoever. Just scary brown man bad. God damn, when I see stuff like this, I'm like, we deserve Donald Trump. We do, as a nation. If a nation has enough people that are going to believe this fucking rabid, psychopathic slop, we kind of fucking deserve our own demise. You know what I mean? It's like Maryland dad dressed like a gangster. Why was he dressed like a gangster? He's wearing a fucking Chicago Bulls hat while being brown, bro. This is literally all this is.
When you're in Compton, you don't accidentally wear red and say, oh, I didn't know red was Bloods. If you're a Latin American illegal alien in Maryland, you don't accidentally wear Chicago Bulls gear and hang around with high-ranking gangsters from MS-13. This is the reason he...
Yeah. I once asked a Lebanese mechanic in Beirut if he was ever in the Midwest because he was wearing a Bull shirt, and he told me in perfect English, come on, man, the Bulls are universal. These people have never left their fucking homes. They've never left America, I don't think. It's so funny. You can go to a goddamn village in the middle of fucking Turkey and you can see Bulls merch. What the fuck are you talking about, dude? What are you talking about? I can't believe we're even like having to defend the universality of the Chicago Bulls brand, by the way, because there is no defense. There's no need for this. What do you mean he's wearing a fucking Chicago Bulls hat? That's it.
He had to break into the country. Are you ready? A local gang in El Salvador was shaking down his grandma's tortilla shop. And his lawyers say if he gets sent back to El Salvador, he's a dead man. It's a tortilla blood vendetta.
Oh my God. The only real information that he presented is at the end. And he doesn't even do anything to disparage it. He just says it's silly, not recognizing that MS-13 in El Salvador actively fucking harangues, harasses, extorts local fucking shop owners exactly like that. So much so that even the most racist American criminal justice system judge looked at that situation and said, yeah, this information is pretty fucking valid and consistent with the way MS-13 operates. This is why we can't send him back to El Salvador. That's what happened. He didn't even fucking disparage the statement that was seen in a court of law as admissible evidence. Evidence that fucking cleared the high standard that would offer this person protection from being deported to El Salvador. And this fucking guy doesn't even try to undermine the evidence. He just goes, ha, tortilla shop. Oh, it's a blood feud with a tortilla shop. Are you fucking kidding me? Do you know anything? Oh, he just made a joke. He didn't even try to make a joke. He just basically, he did the thing that all brilliant content creators do, where someone makes it, justifying a terrorist wife beater. Two judges ruled that he was an MS-13 gang member. Are you saying you know better than two judges? Yes, I'm saying I know better than you, dumb fuck, because both of those judges are immigrant court judges that literally do not care about the actual standard of evidence in this regard, because the standard of evidence is nothing. It's just fucking hearsay that a cop that was subsequently fired reported on with claims that this person was an MS-13 gang member that operated out of Long Island. He had never been to fucking Long Island. So much so that a third judge looked at it and went, yeah, I don't think this is valid. I don't think this is valid enough for deportation to El Salvador. As a matter of fact, there's enough evidence here that is valid to not deport him to El Salvador. A fact that the American federal government accidentally also admitted to, for the record, when they said, oops, we made a mistake. That's the only reason why this is even a fucking story, and you don't know about the fucking stories of Andre, the gay hairstylist that was also sent to the fucking CCOP facility for having tattoos of mom and dad on his arms. The only reason why people are talking about this is because the federal government actively admitted that they they made a fucking mistake, and now they're refusing to fucking atone for said mistake, even though they could very easily do so, even though they have done so directly from El Salvador. As a matter of fact, this administration has demanded to return people that they falsely sent to El Salvador in the past. Fuck you. That was a pretrial bail determination. They said the accusation was enough to withhold bond, not that he was MS-13. Very different. Yes. God damn, dude. Imagine actually defending a terrorist and justifying this much. So cringe. Yeah, I can't imagine myself defending a terrorist because I'm not defending this fucking terrorist donkey over here, Jesse Waters. Okay? You are the one who's defending terrorism. You're the one who's defending people getting fucking kidnapped in the middle of the street by Gestapo agents, only to be fucking trafficked into a slave labor colony, you fucking Nazi freak, you goddamn vermin. What the fuck is wrong with you? Holy shit. Don't worry. That kind of shit will come down. That kind of shit will come knocking down your door one day too, okay? And you'll have no one to defend you. Dipshit. Notice how I gave him all of the relevant factual information, and instead of hearing any of that, it just breezed past him and he went, "Imagine actually defending a terrorist?" I'm defending the rule of law, you fucking donkey, with the hopes that one day you don't also get fucked over. You might not have the emotional intelligence to understand that, but I'm still going to fucking advocate for your well-being, even if you fucking fight me tooth and nail down to the fucking very last step because you're a racist, mouth-breathing loser, okay? But even a racist, mouth-breathing loser, such as yourself, does not deserve to be treated this way. Does not deserve to be treated as nothing but cattle. Not even cattle. We treat cattle better. Your priorities are backwards in saying you would rather protect terrorists than victims of the country. You have not demonstrated that this person is a terrorist. You have not demonstrated it at all. You are only imagining that a brown guy wearing a fucking bull's hat is a terrorist because he's a brown guy wearing a fucking bull's hat. Expect it coming from the left? Oh my God. Oh, it seems you know better than the two judges look at you, a grown-ass man crashing out over a terrorist. I'm a grown-ass man crashing out because I think that other American individuals are not this fucking sub 40 IQ, okay? I'm crashing out because I think we have the endless bounty of the internet. You have access to all of this information. It is readily available to you, and yet you choose to go off on your own fucking idiotic notion that this person is a fucking terrorist without any evidence whatsoever, and only evidence to show that he is not a terrorist. Only evidence to show that he's not MS-13. Fuck. It's blowing my mind how stupid and how racist people can be in this day and age.
13 gang. And two separate judges found that Abrego Garcia was a member of MS-13, and that finding has never been...
They know they aren't in danger. They want a white ethno state. They know this admin is working in service of that goal. First, they came for the communist argument doesn't work when you were talking to a literal Nazi. No. Okay? That's also not true. Because their quality of life will be destroyed in an irreparable fashion with the Trump administration. It's like dumb fuck liberal Zionists in Israel who don't understand that the apartheid justifies all of the fucking reactionary slant in the fascist apartheid state, and they don't recognize that underlying cause, so they just keep going along with it, and then they go, oh, how could this have happened? Why do we have Itamar Ben-Gvir, a terrorist, in a position of power? It happens because you can't fucking check your idiotic white supremacist fantasies. And before you know it, you're going to be the fucking crosshairs. That's how it's always worked inside of fascist administrations throughout history. My goal is to snap at least some people out of this fucking stupor that they found themselves in. Yeah, first they came for the communist is a poem written by a fucking Nazi, okay? A former Nazi. Do you understand why that poem is prescient? Or do you understand why that poem is important? Because it's written by a fucking guy who was like, yeah, I'm a Nazi. I like the Nazi stuff. What's going on? I'm a Christian Nazi. It'll never happen to me. And then when it did come for him, he was like, well, I have no one else to fucking save me. That's the whole point. Historically, fascism ends, right? Yes, of course it ends, because it's a fucking suicidal death cult. You will never stay in the in-group. If you think that you will stay in the in-group, you are a fucking moron.
Disputed. And just this morning, it was revealed through Maryland court documents that Abrego Garcia's wife petitioned for an order of protection against him for 2 instances of domestic violence in May of 2021. And here is the order right here. The court ordered that the respondent committed the following acts of abuse. Once in May of 2021, assault in any degree. And on May 4th of 2021, he punched and scratched his wife, ripped off her shirt, and grabbed and bruised her. This is from a court in Maryland. So not only are Democrats rushing to defend an illegal criminal foreign terrorist gang member, but also an apparent woman beater. To set all of that aside, the basic fact that he was illegal.
He's like, dude, oh my God. Saying this as a part of the Trump administration is extra spicy. What's next? Did he say he wanted to grab women by the pussy? Are you going to lie about that too? Like, what do you mean? This person is an alleged woman beater? What the fuck are you talking about? Pete Hegseth is the goddamn Secretary of Defense. What are you saying?
Legally inside our country and had a lawful deportation order made him subject to removal back to his home country of El Salvador. And if he ever ends up back in the United States, he would immediately be deported again. Nothing will change the fact that Abrego Garcia will never be a Maryland father. He will never live in the United States of America again. And the United States Supreme Court ruled unanimously that the President of the United States and the Secretary of State could not be compelled to forcibly retrieve this citizen of El Salvador who is currently locked up in a maximum security prison in his home country due to his MS-13 membership. To remind the media and the Democrat Party, MS-13 are among the most vicious and dangerous individuals in this world. They pose a direct threat to the United States, El Salvador, and any other country who maintains basic law and order. MS-13 rapes innocent girls and women, runs sex trafficking operations, murders for sport, and terrorizes law-abiding people. That's why El Salvador President Bukele made it clear this week that he will not be releasing this MS-13 gang member from his prison. But that is not enough. All of that is not enough to stop the Democrat Party from their lies. The number one issue they are focused on right now is bringing back this illegal alien terrorist to America. But where are the Democrats applauding the fact that southern border crossings just hit a historic low? Where are the Democrats supporting our brave men and women of law enforcement who are putting their lives on the line every single day to arrest the violent illegal alien invaders that the previous administration allowed into our country? And where are the Democrats when innocent Americans are victimized by illegal criminals that Joe Biden let in?
Like, an innocent American is being victimized. Even if you say Abrego Garcia is not an American citizen, okay? His wife is. His children are. You're victimizing them. You're ripping them away from their father. His brothers in the union are innocent Americans who are also being victimized in this situation. It's also incredible because God, every day we are more depraved as a society. We are moving in a very fucking dangerous direction. We're in that dangerous direction. We're not moving in that dangerous direction. We're there. It is fucking terrifying, dude. It sucks to see happening in broad daylight with no way of changing the trajectory. It's actually psychotic that they're just openly lying about this dude being MS-13 with no information whatsoever, with no evidence readily available, and only evidence to suggest the contrary, the exact opposite, that he is not an MS-13 gang member. And it doesn't even matter. None of it matters. His wife addressed domestic abuse court filings in this Newsweek article. Exclusive. Abrego's wife responds after restraining order revealed. Jennifer Vasquez-Sura, the wife of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the Maryland man deported to El Salvador before the U.S. Supreme Court called for him to be returned, is defending her husband and denouncing U.S. ICE for what she describes as an unjust act of abduction. Vasquez-Sura gave an exclusive statement in Newsweek, responding to the DHS release of court filings alleged domestic violence. Her statement comes after the DHS posted documents from 2021 indicating that she filed for a protective order claiming that her husband punched and scratched her, ripped her shirt, and left her bruised. The temporary restraining order barred him from contacting her and directing him not to harass or abuse her, according to court filings. After surviving domestic violence in a previous relationship, I acted out of caution after a disagreement with Kilmar by seeking civil protective order in case things escalated, she said. Things did not escalate, and I decided not to follow through with the civil court process. We were able to work through the situation privately as a family, including by going to counseling. Our marriage only grew stronger in the years that followed. Like, what is this argument? They're saying that, like, they're protecting this woman who is demanding the return of her husband who has been fucking abducted. Oh, no, you don't understand. We're actually doing you a good, we're doing you justice here. It is so fucking slimy and so goddamn gross to try to pull this civil proceeding up to be like, yeah, no, this guy is actually a terrorist wife beater, fucking coming from the people who hire rapists, dude. Drunk rapists are in so many positions of power that it literally feels like you have to be a pedophile drunk rapist to even get any proximity to power whatsoever. And these guys are like, yeah, this person whose wife is demanding his return is actually a victim that we're saving in this process. Gross. What the fuck? It is so fucking gross. Yeah, also here's how they're packaging this. Trump's counterterrorism czar, Sebastian Gorka, says Americans critical of deportations like Abrego Garcia's are providing material support to terrorists, a felony crime. And if you think it's just like a stupid statement coming from a stupid man, make no mistake, these stupid men are in positions of power, and they're saying this because they're gearing up to eventually deport you too. You either have to shut the fuck up and stand idly by as all of the constitutional protections are eroded for the whims of a madman who's willing to nuke global trade, ruin your fucking future, ruin and make worse the affordability crisis that already existed that conveniently made him the president. They just want you to shut the fuck up, and they will continue shredding the Constitution to make sure you shut the fuck up.
That's what we learned today from the White House press briefing. And again, a judge ruled 6 years ago that he couldn't be deported from this country because he was a gang member. And that judge had fears that he would be targeted by rival gangs in El Salvador. Doesn't that just solve the question right there in itself?
Well, the question is solved, Rob. Good evening. At so many levels. Number one, this individual is a foreign national who came here illegally. So that's your first two strikes. Then we find out he's a member of an organization that we recently designated as a foreign terrorist organization. So 3 strikes and you're out. And it's quite telling that we have Democrats on Capitol Hill, not just the lunatics who are torching Tesla dealerships in acts of terrorism themselves, saying, oh my gosh, the rights of this individual. You mean the terrorist who came here illegally? And that individual who said, I can't go home because one gang that I'm not a member of wants to kill me because I am a member of another gang. Seriously, Rob, if you read this in a fictional novel 10 years ago, you'd say absolutely absurd. This is where we are today. President Trump, Stephen Miller, Kristi Noem, Tom Homan are trying to keep us safe, but the other side of the aisle is on the side of the terrorists. I realize that the taxonomy of politics in America is dead. It's not left and right. It's not even Republican or Democrat. There's one line that divides us. Do you love America or do you hate America? It's really quite that simple. And we have people who love America, like the president, like his cabinet, like the directors of his agencies, who want to protect.
I can't think of a person who does not love, who hates America more than Donald Trump. Everything that he's done so far is unironically ruining America even further, just accelerating America's demise. Everything he touches. I also love that in the aftermath of the war on terror and the aftermath of 9/11, we've gotten to a fucking point where you could just say someone is a terrorist, no evidence necessary, totally fucking deny you of your habeas corpus, totally deny you of any rights whatsoever, and it doesn't even fucking matter. No one seems to care. No one seems to care that we are now living this reality where you could just be called a terrorist and then that's it. You could be disappeared overnight. You have no legal protections. How can people not recognize that this is dangerous? It's not just happening to Muslims in Dearborn anymore. It's happening to Mexicans. It's happening to El Salvadorans. It's happening to Guatemalans. It's going to happen to white people eventually too. Just wait.
Americans. And then there is the other side that is on the side of the cartel members, on the side of the illegal aliens, on the side of the terrorists. And you have to ask yourself.
Yeah, it's not the Democrats that want him to be returned. It's the fucking Supreme Court of the United States. These are the guys who also used to talk about how much they love the Constitution. Look what they did during the White House press conference. Patty Morin, whose daughter Rachel was murdered by a migrant without legal status in 2023, criticized her senator, Chris Van Hollen, for flying to El Salvador to advocate for Kilmar Abrego Garcia in an unrelated immigration case. That is fucking crazy, dude. How do you have no self-respect? How do you have no self-respect? This is a totally separate person, you fucking animal. Jesus Christ, I have no fucking sympathy for this person at all. What the fuck? Oh my God, dude. This is some fucking real Emmett Till ass bullshit. What the fuck are we doing? Oh, this Mexican whistled in my direction. Time to fucking disappear this person. That's where we're going. That's where we're at.
And to have a senator from Maryland who didn't even acknowledge or barely acknowledged my daughter and the brutal death that she endured, leaving her 5 children without a mother and now a grandbaby without a grandmother, so that he can use my taxpayer money to fly to El Salvador to bring back someone that's not even an American citizen. Why does that person have more right than I do, or my daughter, or my grandchildren? I don't understand this. Thank you.
Yeah, you don't understand many things, like the fact that you're being used as a fucking racist pawn right now. Or maybe you do understand it and you love that. New Maryland court documents reveal the deported Salvadoran national Kilmar Abrego Garcia's wife. Yeah, we already covered this. Yeah. No one is perfect and no marriage is perfect. That's not a justification for ICE's actions of abducting him and deporting him to a country where he was supposed to be protected from deportation. Kilmar has always been a loving partner and father, and I will continue to stand by him and demand justice for him. Yeah, it's crazy that they released this info, and the info itself literally says there's no criminal history for the subject. Oh my God. The Morin family is insane. Every fucking one of them. I know this from firsthand experience. They're awful people. The woman who was killed, Rachel Morrow, was literally the only normal one in the family. What's also extra crazy is not extra crazy because we know that it was disingenuous at the time that they were using this argument, but like the very same people that were talking about how the government's going to come and disappear people for no fucking reason whatsoever are now unironically championing that exact same thing that they were claiming the Obama administration was going to do. The very same people that said, this is a witch trial, this is a witch trial, this is a lynching to any and every instance where someone was being fucking raced on the timeline are now unironically demanding that more witch trials take place. Oh.
It's appalling and sad that Senator Van Hollen and the Democrats applauding his trip to El Salvador today are incapable of having any shred of common sense or empathy for their own constituents and our citizens. Nobody knows this more than the woman standing to my right, Patty Morin, whose beautiful daughter Rachel was brutally maimed and murdered at the hands of an illegal alien in August of 2023. Patty no longer has her daughter because of the failed Democrat Party's open border, and these are policies that President Trump is bringing an end to. Patty should not have to be here today, but she is, and we are grateful and we are honored for her willingness and her request to share.
Also, Chris Van Hollen literally did put out a statement on this lady's daughter. Van Hollen's statement, a conviction of Rachel Morin's killer. While the conviction of Rachel Morin's killer will not return Rachel to her family where she rightfully belongs, this verdict brings a measure of justice that they so deserve. I'm grateful to the law enforcement officers who brought her killer into custody and for our legal process for delivering his justice. As I've said in the past, the American people deserve meaningful action to reform our broken immigration system, improve public safety, and strengthen our border security. We can do this while also supporting our immigrant communities and respecting the rights of individuals who are here legally. I am committed to doing both, and I will continue pressing my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to move forward on this issue. Yeah, but look, it doesn't matter because lying is overpowered. You could just be this fucking psycho and just be like, Chris Van Hollen doesn't care about me. My daughter was murdered by another totally fucking random undocumented immigrant. Undocumented immigrants in this country, okay? Documented and undocumented non-citizens. Non-citizens across the board, but specifically undocumented non-citizens, come from literally every part of the planet. The notion that they're all one singular hive mind, hell-bent on murder and death and destruction is somehow even more psychotic than the previous psychotic nature of white supremacy. We have elevated our white supremacy. There is no discernible factor here that actually makes undocumented migrants monolithic at all. Nothing that binds them together. We're talking about a group of people, if you believe the numbers that they claim, 20 million, that are Chinese, Thai, Korean, Guatemalan, Salvadoran, Venezuelan, German. Like, it is so insane. If there's like, these guys are like, nah, all 20 million are actually all operating with the same fucking opinion.
Before he did that, he stopped on that trail.
Ukrainian, Polish,
and
it's so
rocks,
crazy. Haitian.
still stained with her blood. He used them to hammer her head against those rocks. They say 20, at least 20 times they could count.
That is a different person. What the fuck are you saying? It's like if somebody arrested or kidnapped and deported a random black person, and then they were like, hey, we're going to bring up this lady, okay, who has been victimized by a black perpetrator to make this argument. What the fuck are we doing? It's a totally different person. I don't even know where this fucking guy, this murderer actually came from to begin with. What are we doing? What the fuck are we doing? This is lynch mob shit.
The cuts in her head. They said that when they did the autopsy, and I've seen the pictures, there's a 6-inch square in the back of her head where the skull is shattered the way.
I can't get over this rolls of cash that Trisha Ohio claimed he had. The gang work she filed out with the disgraced cop explains where the allegation came from. Trisha thought a hoodie with rolls of money pictured on it was him having physical rolls of cash. I'm trying so hard not to be ableist in this very moment, but god damn, I really think that if you're the type of adult that needs constant supervision to not accidentally kill yourself, you shouldn't be allowed in the Department of Homeland Security as a deputy assistant director. Okay? You should not be allowed to operate a fucking vehicle, let alone be holding the levers of power. This is demonstrating the mental fortitude of a person who cannot put clothes on, okay? They're not merely stupid, they're evil. No, they're both. They're evil and stupid. They are both. Money dollar pattern all over print hoodie. I don't know. I don't know what this is, and I can't see it. It's not loading. Oh. All of this that has unfolded so far is precisely the reason why we need due process. Because someone simply claiming a false statement is not enough to do such a horrifying act of cruelty, okay? This is why. Deporting someone is a cruel act. If you do it to a random person, an innocent person, it is a cruel and unjustifiable act. It is a violent act. I guess because on its face, this is a new method of demonstrating white supremacy, that many people are oblivious to it, because this is Klansman shit. This is lynch mobs. This is exactly how black people were lynched. False assertions and statements that associate all black people with certain kinds of activities falsely, erroneously. That is what this is.
And the
oh my God.
I just landed at the airport in San Salvador a little while ago. I'm now en route into the city. Looking forward to meeting with the team from the American Embassy. And I do want to thank our Foreign Service officers and the whole team.
I mean, this is neo-Nazi shit for sure.
At this embassy and embassies around the world for all the good work they do on behalf of our country. I'm proud to co-chair the bipartisan Foreign Service Caucus that stands up for the men and women who are serving our country overseas and at home in the State Department. After that, I hope to meet with some high-level government officials from El Salvador. As I've said before, the goal of my visit is to talk to people here about the release of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. I told his wife and his family I would do everything possible to bring him home, and we're going to keep working at this until we're successful. I also hope to have the chance to meet with him, but we'll have a better idea if that works out a little later on. So I asked the vice president if I could meet with Mr. Abrego Garcia. And he said, well, you need to make earlier provisions to go visit CCOT. I said, I'm not interested at this moment in taking a tour of CCOT. I just want to meet with Mr. Abrego Garcia. He said he was not able to make that happen. I asked, he said he needed a little more time. I asked him if I came back next week, whether I'd be able to see Mr. Abrego Garcia. He said he couldn't promise that either. So I asked him if I could get on the phone, either video phone or just a phone, and talk to Mr. Abrego Garcia. So I could just ask him how he's doing so I could report back to his family. He said he could not arrange that.
Chess, stop speculating that he's dead. Okay, please. Please.
He said maybe if the American embassy were to ask, maybe that could happen. So I will certainly ask the American embassy to ask the government of El Salvador.
This is so fake. He had to go there in person. He couldn't call first to confirm if he could be released. If you can't comprehend why his physical presence on Salvadoran soil is significantly more impactful, I don't know what to tell you, okay? Yeah, of course. If he were just to be like, oh, I called them up and they couldn't give me an answer, it's a little bit different than like flying out there, don't you think? It's like Jonestown. Congresspersons have been harmed in the past for this.
Salvador to connect us by phone. I asked him how about his family? How can he talk to his wife so that she can hear his voice? I let him know that the family has requested that. He said he was not sure whether he could make that happen. Thank you.
Are you concerned whether Mr. Abrego Garcia is still alive?
I don't know about his health status. That's exactly why I wanted to meet with him directly. That's why I wanted to talk to him on the phone.
It is so insane that all of this could be, once again, and I feel like this is the same with like Israel. It's one phone call. It's one phone call. If one person in a position of power woke up this morning and chose not to be an evil Nazi piece of shit, it's done. It's over. All of the wrongdoing is reversed. That's what makes me so angry. That's what made me so fucking angry about Joe Biden refusing to stop the genocide that Israel was engaging in. That's what makes me so angry about Trump also refusing to stop the genocide Israel's engaging in. That's what makes me so frustrated about the reality that Trump could also stop all of this. All of it. One fucking phone call. For the price of $6 million, we have designed this like disappearance scheme.
And that's why I want to arrange a phone call with his wife. I mean, this is a notorious prison. And the family, this is a guy, again, he just...
Doesn't this make us look weak? How can we get Russia to stop its war? I mean, people understand that this is not a representation of weakness. It's a representation of cruelty. Because they know that they can stop this with ease. It's fucking El Salvador. What do you mean? It's a country that we were able to influence into housing, warehousing whoever we want disappeared. If it's that easy to do so, the reversal of that decision, even for someone who we have admitted to wrongly sending to El Salvador, we can easily change. This is horrifying.
Had disappeared off the streets of Maryland. He ends up in, I'm sorry.
Por eso que yo estoy pidiendo que necesito verlo con él, porque no sabemos cuál es la condición de este fotografía. Sencillamente desapareció de la cuenta.
This is why I wanted to see him. I also want to say to everybody here, you may know, in the state of Maryland, we have a very wonderful, robust Salvadorian population, and they contribute greatly to our state.
Senador, es una afrenta del gobierno de Bukele al sistema de justicia de Estados Unidos. No le oigo cuando yo estoy hablando, no puedo oír. ¿Su pregunta cuál es? Que si es una afrenta del gobierno de Bukele al sistema de justicia de Estados Unidos. Is it a confrontation from the Bukele administration to the United States of America?
Well, I'm asking President Bukele to. Okay, I'm asking President Bukele, under his authority as president of El Salvador, to do the right thing and allow Mr. Abrego Garcia to walk out of a prison. A man.
Happening today, a Democrat senator is traveling down to El Salvador to try to get a deported, suspected migrant gang member back to the United States.
It's really incredible when you think about it. This comes as other Democrats push for a welfare check at the mega prison where the worst
suspected MS-13 gang member.
The worst are.
Yeah. Fox News still has to run with a suspected gang member because they could be sued. Yeah, they're scared of lawsuits. The administration is not. Not that it matters. They'll probably fucking flip this too once they realize, like, who's going to do anything.
Being held.
Maybe let's just get his aura read. Make a check on him.
Griff Jenkins is live in Washington with more. So, Griff, suddenly this is an issue the Democrats are embracing.
Well, they're rallying around it. Good morning, Steve, Ainsley, Brian, and Lawrence. And look, this may be a first we're going to witness today. A sitting U.S. senator traveling to a foreign country to advocate for an illegal alien deemed affiliated with MS-13 deported to his home country. But that's exactly what Maryland's Democrat Senator Chris Van Hollen says he's doing today. Watch.
I don't even know if we announced this, but I am planning tomorrow to go to El Salvador to work to bring him home. The Trump administration themselves admitted in federal court that he was wrongfully abducted from the United States.
And he's not the only Democrat rallying around Garcia. A federal judge ordering the Trump administration to facilitate his return. As many as a dozen House Democrats want to follow. Axios obtaining a letter from these representatives, Robert Garcia and Max Frost, requesting a co-deal be authorized to travel on the taxpayer dime. In the letter they write, a congressional delegation would allow committee members to conduct a welfare check on Mr. Abrego Garcia, as well as others held at CCOT. Now this, as Senator Van Hollen pays little notice to another one of his constituents, Rachel Morin, the Maryland mother of 5, murdered by an illegal alien, Victor Martinez Hernandez, found guilty this week of first-degree premeditated murder and first-degree rape. There was no press conference with Van Hollen standing in solidarity with the grieving Morin family. His office simply putting out a
Senator Chris Van Hollen actually is defending his constituents with this action. Okay. Abrego's wife is a constituent, an American citizen. Abrego's children are also American citizens. Abrego himself is a constituent, technically. This is an entirely separate case, Rachel Morin's case, and it is psychotic to post this to justify the deportation of an innocent man. What the fuck are we talking about, dude? Every single person is running the same note here.
Guys?
And a couple of members of Congress are asking James Comer to authorize a codel so they can go down as well, both Democrats. But also there was some action yesterday, Griff, at the federal court level, and that is the judge who essentially said, okay, the federal government's got to facilitate bringing him back. Supreme Court said, yeah, you got to facilitate coming back. And now they put the administration on notice. You got 2 weeks to tell me exactly how hard you've tried to bring the guy back.
Well, that's right, Steve. And Judge Paula Zinnes, the federal judge in this case, says that the Supreme Court backed her up in that facilitation. The administration, fighting over the word facilitating return, does not demand actual return. She's actually given the Trump administration basically until tomorrow to explain why he hasn't been brought back with this tougher deadline. But I think what's going to be interesting as this all plays out is the parallel political track, because it'll be interesting to see what Tom Homan has to say to you guys, because Chris Van Hollen keeps using the word abducted, illegally, that Abrego Garcia was illegally abducted, and there's nothing in the language or in the case that dates back to 2019.
How do we deal with the reality of every single person carrying water for fascism in America, from the Fox News talking heads to the press secretary, the White House interns, to the voters, to the POTUS, will never face any justice for their unspeakably evil behavior over the years? Like, how are we supposed to live with that in perpetuity? I don't... With the hopes that one day justice will be served, no matter what, because this kind of cruelty is suicidal at its end, and they will inevitably find their own demise. And in the process, you shouldn't just like kick back and expect it to happen on its own, of course. You should be doing everything in your power to disrupt. That's it.
That he was abducted. He was brought in and deemed for removal, just not specifically to El Salvador. Steve?
Hey, maybe you know, Griff, the proceedings on this.
What is this? New viewer here. To clarify, I'm totally on your side on all this, but like you said earlier about wanting to save as many people from getting indoctrinated about this stuff, how is your approach of commentary supposed to convince anyone who isn't already on your side of your points? I don't know. Look around you. You are surrounded by 36,428 other people, and the overwhelming majority of them were convinced one way or another throughout this process. Maybe not on this issue, but on something, on a number of different issues. I feel like Parker and Dean's one-on-one debate approach is more effective at getting the point across to these people. I don't know, just throwing it out there. Yeah, debates have utility, but the unfortunate reality is that debate content alone doesn't necessarily work. You have to have a vision. You have to have a worldview that you actively talk about, that you convince people that this kind of sentiment is just completely fucking wrong. There are plenty of people that come in here to entertain their curiosity, and they leave changed individuals. There are shortcomings to every type of to every type of content. As someone who has done the debating stuff as well in the past, and still debate regularly when opportunity presents itself, I can tell you there are shortcomings to that style of content where some of the people do not necessarily care about the actual worldview, but instead just want the blood sport, the drama that is associated with it, the feeling, the thrill of victory associated with it. Everyone has a different way of doing content.
I don't understand why James Comer's got to give permission for Democrats to have a codel, just so they don't have to pull the money out of their pocket.
To authorize, look, as you know, Congress holds the purse strings and the party in power. James Comer is the chairman, so he would have to authorize ultimately and sign off on spending taxpayer dime to send these Democrats down on this codel to do whatever they're going to do to advocate on the case of an illegal alien deported back to his home country.
Yeah, it's interesting. I didn't know the majority was in charge of that, too. But thanks so much, Griff. Appreciate it.
Because they need security and also oversight.
I just thought the minority could ask for it.
They can ask, but James Comer can say no. However, Van Hollen is going. He's there today.
But the bottom line is,
what do you do?
Rachel Morin was a part of his district.
From Maryland.
And I've spent the entire morning trying to find his public comments. I can only find the statement from yesterday when the person was convicted of murdering her. He didn't say anything. There were no protests. This is the type of stuff that really ticks off the American people. When our citizens die, when they're brutally raped, there's no outrage from the media or Democrats. But suddenly, this guy, by the way, the only thing...
Codell is authorization for like a congressional delegation. It's when you go and you get a official congressional delegation to go to investigate matters.
Ainsley, that's in dispute now, is where he was deported.
Right. So
that's the only thing.
Caroline Levitt, we have so much to say on this. I want to play this soundbite, and then I want to play Rachel.
They're like, hey, I know this dude didn't do this crime, this heinous crime, but what if he did? That's the argument. Especially while the black host is making this argument, considering the history of this kind of race-baiting sentiment and what that has led to, what kind of violence that has led to. Insane.
Rachel Morin's mom soundbite, and then I want to get into the meat of this. Here's Caroline Levitt at the White House.
It's mind-boggling, the priorities of the modern-day Democrat Party. I think it's atrocious that you have Democrats in Congress on Capitol Hill who swear an oath to protect their constituents and to serve them in Washington, D.C., spending more time defending illegal immigrant gang members than their own constituents and law-abiding American citizens like Rachel Morin.
I'm very angry. I'm actually outraged. But
Yo, I can't see this fucking psycho one more time on my screen, dude. Yo, seriously. Like, using the horrifying death of your daughter to enact so much violence to random people who don't deserve it, to be a fucking mouthpiece for this administration, you are a ginormous piece of shit, okay? You are a monster. Fuck you.
He says the courts have ordered the safe return of my constituent.
I can't even fucking entertain this. Like, oh my God. Playing out her fucking sick, twisted fantasies of enacting vengeance upon every fucking non-white person. God damn, dude. What a fucking monstrous piece of shit you are.
He's talking about this MS-13. Two courts said he's an MS-13. ICE has confirmed he was an MS-13, which means he's a terrorist in our country. So he gets kicked out.
Dangerous stuff. Anyone and everyone is a terrorist now. I said so. No due process. Suck my dick. And we'll turn around and we'll do post hoc rationalizations for it. This is crazy.
Out of our country, and now that's the constituent he cares about. Is he even a constituent? A constituent is a voting member of a community. Can he vote in Maryland? Not for a federal election, right? So
they're not even talking about just him as a constituent, okay? Which he is. Non-citizen or citizen, doesn't matter. That's still a constituent, okay? Technically. But they're talking about the other victims. If you care only about American citizens process, his wife is a constituent, an American citizen. His 5-year-old special needs son is a constituent, an American citizen. His friends and other family members that are all American citizens are constituents. Oh my God.
Oh, Patty Moran says, I live in this district. He never came to visit me.
Or my family.
I live in the same district. He could have come over to my...
Oh, my mistake. Children are technically not constituents because they can't vote either. You know? So I guess his son is not a constituent by their fucking estimation. You know? That's how it works now, I guess.
my house and said, hey, and I didn't hear from Democrats. She said, I didn't hear from Joe Biden, Kamala, Mayorkas, or her senator. She did hear from the governor, Wes Moore, but she said he didn't do anything about anything after that.
Well, the reason she didn't hear from any Democrats is it's politically it's a losing proposition for them.
So is what they're doing to go down to the prison.
They've got.
It's true.
Listen, when somebody. It's two different. It's the same topic, but it's two different stories. You know, the migrant kills the woman in Maryland. That's one story, but this one is so much better because the way the Democrats are spinning it is this. It was a El Salvadoran who was in the country legally and was,
which is not true.
No, he was.
No, he was not. He had a final deportation order. The only thing that's in dispute is where he was sent.
I can actually give you the background. So he comes over at 16 by his parents, I guess so-called. He'd qualify as a dreamer, whatever that means. At 19, he gets picked up, or 20 years old, he gets picked up in front of a Home Depot. And the Prince County cops pick him up, and they go, this guy's here illegally. He's a suspected gang member. We're turning him over to ICE. He ends up in front of a court, and the judge, Elizabeth Kessler, says, you're a verified MS-13 ICE member. You're avoided hearing, and there's going to be evidence, so it's going to be coming up in 8 months. So on December 29th, he appealed because he was supposed to be deported. And he says, they said, again, you're a member of MS-13. He said, okay, before you kick me out of the country, I'd like to apply for asylum. And they go, okay, you can apply for asylum. I don't know where you're going to stand on. He goes, but by the way, if you do kick me out, it looks like you're going to kick me out. If you do kick me out, I'm going to say, whatever you do, don't kick me out to El Salvador. He said, okay. So they go, he is on a removal order. Right. Living from that time to 2025. He's living here, knowing that he could be removed at any moment. Now, people say, okay, he could have been kicked out to any country. Why'd you put him in El Salvador? So Stephen Miller says yesterday, he goes, a couple of things. The reason why you don't go to El Salvador is MS-13. That's right. MS-13 has been eliminated as a threat because the El Salvador president arrested all of them, neck tattoos and all. So you could say, on one count, he's been eliminated as a threat. On the other count is MS-13, thanks to this president, is a terrorist, is a terrorist group. So we're kicking you out for being a member of a terrorist group. So this senator and the Codell want to go down and visit the MS-13 member living on a removal order in Maryland. He's not an American. He may be a dad, but it has nothing to do with his legal status. And MS-13 is one of the most brutal gangs you will ever
look
come
at the
across.
photos.
So that's who you're going to bat for, not an illegal immigrant.
But my earlier point was the Democrats have seized on this to say, hey, this guy who is in the country and had an order not to get sent back there was grabbed and he was abducted. I mean, that's their talking point. And that is what we're going to hear over and over as all of these Democrats line up to go down there.
All right, but people should know the truth about the situation. Yeah. He is an illegal immigrant on a removal order. And if you want to know why you're going to El Salvador, you say, well, the man mistakes sent him to El Salvador, but not getting him out of the country. That's what Senator Van Hollen cares about. Not Rachel Morin, not the illegals, not the 2.5 million here with criminal records that stuck in over the last 4 years. Not that he cares about this clown.
So a lot of these illegal immigrants came in under the watch of Joe Biden. They essentially just let the border open. Now the border is 95% closed. And we'll show later in the show the difference, pictures before and after. You're going to be shocked.
Tom Homan's going to be.
That's right. Tom Homan will be on our show.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube.
At first, at 11, it is a story you'll only see right here on NBC 10 Boston. A real estate attorney, an American citizen returning from Canada, says that he was detained without explanation. Thanks for staying up with us tonight. I'm Priscilla Casper.
And I'm Colton Bradford. Now, that New Hampshire man says he was traveling back from a quick family trip on Sunday when this happened. He spoke exclusively to our Jericho Tran about his experience. Jericho's joining us live right now with what he had to say. Jericho?
Yeah, well, Bashir Atala tells me that he has been a U.S. citizen for over 10 years. But on Sunday, he tells me he was not treated like a citizen at all when U.S. Customs and Border Patrol agents detained him and his wife for several hours with no explanation, all while Bashir was experiencing a medical emergency.
Cool, man. Fucking dope. Cool. It's just normal stuff, dude. Are you sure that having such extreme opinions on everything will help you out in life? Radicalizing people achieves nothing. You complain, but give no solutions. What do you think about the people protesting about El Salvador? I mean, America is not El Salvador, so, like, what's the point of caring? Chatter, I'm gonna try to be as nice as possible, okay? These are people. The story that we are looking at is a literal American citizen, okay, being detained without explanation as he was returning from Canada. This administration has shown time and time again that they're not going to stop just at undocumented migrants, okay? They are taking people from U.S. soil that without due process are being falsely smeared and shipped over to a slave labor camp in El Salvador, disappeared with no way of return, even after the Supreme Court, in a unanimous decision, stated that this person's the deportation reversal must be facilitated by the administration. This is violating the American Constitution. It's violating the persuasive capabilities of the Supreme Court and basically eroding the power that the judiciary is supposed to have as a separate branch in what you learn in school as a very important part of checks and balances. Okay, so that's number 2. It's violating due process in general. And it's causing a shit ton of harm in the process for no discernible reason, for no real reason whatsoever. This is not the America that I suspect you'd want to be a part of. This is inevitably going to ruin your life as well. Okay? Because when there's no due process, all it takes is for an ICE agent to claim that you're a fucking undocumented migrant. You understand? That's all it takes. Once this is normalized, that's all it takes for someone like yourself, if you're an American citizen, to be disappeared. If you cannot demonstrate basic empathy towards your neighbors, but that they can't claim that because I'm not, what's your proof? Just kidding. I don't care. I've already detained you. I'm not going to look at your wallet. I don't give a shit. You're now a non-citizen. And not only are you a non-citizen, I'm claiming that you're a terrorist. What are you going to do? Chatter, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? There's no due process. It's a birth certificate. Oh, you carry your birth certificate around? Okay, I didn't see it. Don't care. What are you going to do about it? How are you going to prove your innocence if I ship you off and disappear you to El Salvador and then claim, even after the Supreme Court demands your return, I can't return you? What are you going to do? There's no due process. Do you not understand this? There's no due process. That means you are nothing. You are whatever I say you are. That's the entire underlying reason for due process to exist. That's it. How are you going to prove that you have a birth certificate? I refuse to see it. There's no due process for actual criminals that murder people. Yeah, you do have a point, but that is not me, so I don't care. No, dude, it's not that you don't care. It's that you don't understand a fundamental principle that I'm describing to you. I say you're a murderer. You say you're not a murderer. There's no due process, so I can do whatever the fuck I want to you. Do you not understand? It's up to me. It's not up to a third-party investigation. That's what due process is. It's not up to a independent court system now. There is no investigation. There's no charges. There's no conviction. I am judge, jury, executioner. That is what happens when there's no due process. That is why this is such a dangerous thing to do. You can say, but I'm a citizen, but I've not done a murder all day, every day. There's no due process. Who are you going to complain to? A judge? Too late. You're in El Salvador now. You're being fucking brutalized in a slave labor camp. Too late. Your loved ones are demanding your return. Your senator is flying to El Salvador. Your senator is saying, this is an American citizen. How dare the Trump administration fucking ship away an American citizen? What the fuck? This person didn't do a murder. He has loved ones. He's in a union. His brothers in his union are demanding his return. His son and his wife are demanding his return. His mother is demanding his return. Okay, so do you think that crime should be legal? What is your answer? You were just complaining without saying what to do? I don't think chatter should yell at this person. I don't think this person is trolling. I think they're just genuinely not very smart, okay? You have to remember there are a lot of people that operate with this level of intellect. You have to understand. Like, I don't think this person is intentionally being obtuse. I don't think this person is even I don't think this person is intelligent enough to be evil. If you can't have a court system, then you are at the mercy of ICE agents. It's that simple. You're at the mercy of law enforcement. Even with due process, innocents still get falsely. Hasan, I'm dead serious. You just complain about problems. You don't ever provide solutions. There are complex issues. So what is the fix? This is not a complex issue. It's too easy to complain about issues. We all see it not provide solutions. Brother, it's not a complex issue. It's complex to you because you just don't understand something that I'm explaining to you. Okay? If I can't get you to comprehend the importance of due process and how it will immediately impact you, if I can't even get you to recognize that, we can't even talk about the complex issues and the solutions to them. The solution is making sure that the court system operates in the way that it does. Because if all else fails, if the Supreme Court's unanimous decision is not listened to and the judiciary no longer has independent power to persuade the federal government, it's over. We are living under a fucking dictatorship, at which point you might as well start figuring out how to deal with that on your own in ways that I can't openly talk about, okay? At that point, we are no longer even a theoretical democracy. We just have a fucking tyrant, a king. That's it. Okay, what would we actually do to make it better? It is two things. You tyrant the issues or let them happen. That is where the world is. You just have to have your finger on the pulse of the world, not just yourself. Okay, I don't know what you're trying to say here. All right, it's all good, man. Good luck.
Literally drove my car to Canada for the weekend. And on the way back, I was treated like a criminal.
An unwelcome return home for Bashir Attallah and his wife Jessica on Sunday when they say Customs and Border Patrol.
How do I convince my Venezuelan green card holding sister-in-law to not take a vacation to Europe next month? I'm very concerned she and her husband are very casual about it. Yeah, I don't fucking understand. I don't know. I don't know how you would convince them. Tell them to fucking wake up and absolutely not leave the country. I would never in a million years tell a green card holder at this stage to entertain the notion of leaving the country if they want to return. I don't think there's a single immigration attorney that would actually tell people, yeah, no, you can go around, travel, it's chill. I don't even think tourists should come to the United States of America right now as it stands. Something that scares me is that probably 50+% of Americans are this stupid. My father's a MAGA man who is super, super stupid. What he says, he wants Trump to be a monarch and his children to be the next leader. We are cooked.
Officers stopped them at the border between.
You're wrong. I'm wrong. We are currently watching an American citizen, not a green card holder, an American citizen get detained at the Vermont-Canada border. This is a news story that we are covering about a U.S. citizen, not a green card holder, a U.S. citizen getting detained without explanation while returning from Canada. The American government has already started literally deporting and refusing entry to random